So my questions to you, Mr. Mayor, and
Yeah.
city council members, and Ashley. So back in 2023, the fight began against banning books. And in spite of thousands of citizens speaking at city council meetings and writing emails, you on the city council proceeded with plans for the Citizens Committee. That would decide on appropriate books for our library. Although thousands signed petitions to stop this attempt to ban books, you refused and decided to put it to a vote. That special election last June cost us more than $1.3 million, and you lost. So you also lost the Freedom to Read lawsuit in September, which will also cost us about $1.5 million in legal fees to the ACLU. So explain to me, first of all, why you voted 7-0 to appeal this ruling,
Sure.
even though you know you're going to lose.
Oh, we do.
Well, it's against the California Freedom to Read
okay.
Act, so how are you going to win that
Mike, you wanna-
suit?
So as you mentioned, the ACLU is asking for $1 million plus in legal fees. So part of the appeal is to reverse part of this, the trial court decision, and avoid the city paying the cost of legal fees for the ACLU. Oh, yep, sorry about that. I got to get right in there, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
Huh.
I'll just talk louder.
Yeah. So I guess if you guys couldn't hear me, the idea behind the appeal was, as someone mentioned, there's $1 million+ tag from the ACLU on that lawsuit. We seek to reverse the Superior Court decision in part to protect the city against paying those attorney's fees.
So you're not going to try to fight the fact that you've lost?
Well, so the decision the council made is, the ACLU's lawsuit, before it was finalized and adjudicated, the special election, as you mentioned, the voters decided, which therefore made that lawsuit moot, which we, through our city attorney's office, went to the court, said this lawsuit is no longer applicable, it's moot, and we rescinded the resolution to the community advisory board and went to the judge and said this lawsuit is moot. And judge disagreed, even though we rescinded everything. And so then they were awarding $1.5 million potential in legal fees. So for us as council, we feel that's unjustly, unfair, and we want to protect your tax dollars. So of course we're going to appeal that. We hope that the next court up will realize that this lawsuit is moot and the ACLU should not have been awarded victory and therefore legal fees.
Well, they would have kept on with the suit if you'd actually been responsible and rescinded sooner.
We rescinded it immediately, right, Mr. Attorney? Yeah, we rescinded immediately. Before the judge weighed in, we went to the court and said, this lawsuit's moot, we rescinded everything,
Mm-hmm.
the case should be dropped. Judge didn't agree with that, and now we're facing $1 million+ in legal fees. So faced with that decision, 10 out of 10 times, I'm going to appeal it to protect your tax dollars.
Okay, so I guess we'll see what happens. So my second question is, and you've rescinded that, right?
Sure.
So really, why are there still some books, and I guess Ashley perhaps could be answering this, that have still been pulled from the teen section, and they're on the 4th floor where they're still basically in the restricted area?
Yeah, and I'll let Ashley elaborate, but there is a decision from the court about the books. We're appealing that decision. We're waiting on the appeal, but we recently got a approved book policy from the state, and we will begin implementing that book policy ASAP.
Oh, ASAP, well, that'll be good. So are we then going to restore the teen section to the library?
The teen section is still in the library. The only difference was the signage was removed. So the actual physical location of, all of the young adult books are still where they were in before 2023.
Except the ones that are still pulled? The ones that are still on the 4th floor?
And City Attorney Vigliota spoke to that.
Okay. And then to you, Ashley, there's about 40 books that the Huntington Beach Republican Women's Group decided to challenge, and nothing's happened to those. So I don't know how long it takes to... What?
Months.
No. And so what I was going to say is it shouldn't be taking that long for those books to be back in circulation. I don't understand why they haven't been reviewed.
The state approved the updated collection development policy towards the end of 2025. We received that right before Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
So we couldn't apply a policy that wasn't approved. So now we've been doing our work. We are working towards applying that policy now and reviewing their requests, and we should have information out back to those who challenge the books shortly.
Okay, because you can't, there are books that you can't even put on hold, so they're not even available to everybody. And then the last question I have is, why was the donation of $825,000 grant, I'm sorry, $1,000 grant money from the Friends of the Library not accepted?
Yeah, so with all our volunteer groups in the city, I believe it was last year, we decided that it was actually shocking to me, and I know my colleagues, that several of these groups, especially Friends, that's I think 50 plus years, have been operating in our facilities without a license agreement or a memo of understanding that outlines roles and responsibilities, and more importantly, insurance protections, insurance requirements to not only protect the,
No, that's not
no, I'm
true.
just saying, if I can finish. So standard form template license agreements, right, to protect the volunteer groups and obviously our taxpaying residents, because these are public facilities. So we've actually been working with the Friends since almost 12 months now to sign and work on this license agreement. That's the standard template for the city that all the other volunteer groups sign. And obviously there's some points that are specific to each group. And the Friends have been, up to this point, I think it was going okay in March. They said they couldn't meet until June. I'm just rough timelines, but anyway, regardless, so it was actually going down the path where we believed they were going to actually sign the MOU and our license agreement. They've since come back with their own version, which is a grant agreement, saying there's $850,000, but that grant agreement, there's several business points in there that are unacceptable in my opinion, because it basically hands over a lot of control to the library, to Friends of the Library. It's a public facility, so we're optimistic that the Friends, we will finish finalizing our standard form template license agreement and MOU, and so we can have Friends in there long term, have defined roles and responsibilities, insurance requirement, how the book donations work. So if you guys, just so you guys know, so the way it works is that individuals donate books to Central Library, right? These are the city's books, sure, all libraries. And then the Friends come in and they process those books and then sell them for the community.
And give people a tax credit.
Sure. But then that money, you would think would then come to the city. It would flow
Why?
naturally because it's the city facility.
It
But
does.
it doesn't.
Every bit of it does.
Okay, it doesn't because there's no agreement. So that was one of the things that made sense, is like we'd love to have volunteers, of course, to help out tremendously, producing like free labor, obviously. So again, these are the city's books that are being donated to a city facility. So as those are processed through the volunteers, that money should then obviously flow to the city. The way it was before, it was more of like a handshake agreement where the previous library director, we said, well, how does it work with the money? She's like, well, whatever we as a city need from Friends, they just give us. So I'm like, well, why doesn't the money just flow naturally to the city and have a normal accounting like it should? Well, that's just never been the way it was. Well, do we have an agreement? No, we don't. I'm like, okay. So those are one of the points that we want to make clear, so that it's obviously in the city facility. The gift shop, as you guys know, when you walk in the library, they occupy the gift shop. They don't pay rent, of course. They're volunteers, but that is a city facility gift shop. They sell merchandise in there. So for us, this is a public facility. I believe it makes sense if we want to run the city like a business, just to tighten those things up, right? To have all good accounting and the money flow through. The gift shop especially, protect the volunteers, protect the residents. And so that's what the city's license agreement / MOU details, and I'm very optimistic we'll get that done and signed with you guys.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.